Welcome to Learn Different. This video I'm back on the Psychology Tools website, that's psychology-tools.com, and I'm thinking that I will do an ADHD test. And I'm going to choose the Vanderbilt test, which is a longer test than the self-reporting scale, and I believe this might be conclusive of whether I have ADHD or not. So let's does not pay attention to details or make careless mistakes. Often, I think. Has difficulty keeping attention to... See, I'm even having difficulty reading this stuff. Has difficulty keeping attention to what needs to be done. Yes. Does not seem to listen when spoken to directly. Yeah, I'll tell you a story. My mum took me several times to a doctor for a hearing test because she could swear that she was calling my name and I couldn't hear my name being called. This happens to today. This is 40 years on, and I still do not often react to my name. Go figure. Probably the number one cause of breakups. Number 4. Does not follow through when given directions or fails to finish activities due to refusal or failure to understand. I want to say occasionally, because sometimes I just don't follow through, not because I haven't understood what I'm doing, but because I get distracted. So let's just leave it at occasionally. Has difficulty organising task activities? Yes, I do. So if I have more than 4 activities and I'm basically thinking about what to do and when to do and which one to do first, that can be a tiring activity in itself and can take 20 minutes. Just going through those 4 activities and trying to juggle them down. Healthy tip: use a piece of paper and just plan your day. You've got 16 hours in a day if you usually sort of get up at any time and you're alive for 16 hours. If each of these 4 tasks take half an hour each, that's only 2 hours out of 16. You're going to do these tasks regardless of when they appear. Another good way is chunking tasks as well. So I chunk my washing machine going on and do my dishes. You can chunk other tasks like going for a run and taking out the rubbish at the same time, for example. So think about how you can chunk tasks, but don't let that be the only rule. Like, I can't take my bin out because I'm not going running. That's not what I'm trying to say. I'm trying to say just chunk the tasks, use a pen and paper, and get on with life. Avoid... you also, just going back to activities, if you're really distracted, set some goals for your life, and that really reduces... I think I've got 2 videos based on making sure that activities work well for you. Avoids, dislikes, or does not want to start tasks that require ongoing... very often. So it's not only the mental effort that stops me from doing a task if I know it's going to be long, it's also the psychological impact of those tasks. So if it's something that I have to do that is I don't like, or I feel negative about it, I can do one of 2 things. I can do my deep breathing exercise, which is a very long out breath and a very long in breath. So much sure that when you're breathing in, you can almost feel something approaching your throat. And that usually reduces the amount of anxiety I have because I'm controlling my physiological symptoms. And so that's how I get out of doing that one that way. The other way is that the mental effort that's involved, I just sit down and plan. That does sound kind of intuitive because you're not actually doing the task. So what you do is you sit down, get out a pen and paper. I know I'm dyslexic and you can see my handwriting from various videos, but that is usually the only thing that actually helps resolve things. You're not in a business, so or if you have a partner, you can delegate tasks, but really and I'm not saying don't do that, I'm just saying do something to get that stuff done. But usually if it's not going to help you with your goals, don't bother doing it. You've got some side type of goals. So for example, going for running or doing yoga, that will help you sharpen the saw, help you stay alert, reduce your anger, get rid of some of your aggression, and make you a bit more productive so you can get on with other tasks. So yeah, there's some tasks that are not procrastinating. Unless you know you're procrastinating, then you should just stop. Loses things necessary for tasks and activities. Yeah. Very often I don't know where I've put my pen. Today I lost my cable for my, I've lost the word for what I'm actually about to say. So yeah, loses things necessary for a task. I lose words necessary for speaking. So I was about to shave myself and my battery just ran out. So I've lost the cable to charge my rechargeable shaver. So I've lost books, toys, socks, clothing. This is a big one for school. I lose swimming trunks, lose things, mislabel stuff, so I can't find them. So here's a tip. In my phone book, I don't remember names. So what I do, instead of putting, or as well as putting names, I put the function of the person that is doing it. So if there's a plumber, I don't often put plumber Joe or whatever. I put plumber fixed radiator. Yeah, so when I'm looking for stuff that I need doing, like radiator, I can type in radiator, and that's one of the fixes that I use. Is easily distracted by noises or other stimuli. Yes. During conversations, and this probably relates to, doesn't seem to listen directly. There's a lot of auditory problems in both autistics and people with ADHD. So it almost seems to me that when someone is talking and someone's talking in the background, that they're at the same level. I can test this usually if I go into the another room of iPad on with the YouTube playing. It sounds almost the same level, if not louder, and then I know that I've got it on too loud, and I come back into that room with the iPad, I turn it down, and I can still hear it at the same volume, and that's really an odd behaviour. It's also stopped me from listening to people. So, for example, just talking to someone, if they've got like background TV on or something, there's noise in the background, I find that that conversation incredibly difficult. So I do ask them to turn it down. If they think that there's not a problem, I kind of explain to them, and I actually say what I can hear, and they're surprised how much detail I can hear in the background. So try and advocate to yourself when it's noisy, so you can call back, but do let them know that it's a bit noisy, I'm having difficulty concentrating, and you'll give them a call back later. Alright, is forgetful in daily activity. I am. Fidgets with hands or feet or squirms in seat. No, not really. I'm quite a sedentary type of person with ADHD. Leave seat when remaining. I think occasionally, because that is a bit of an autistic thing for me. I really don't follow social rules, so I'm going to put that down occasionally because I'm sure it's not to do with being ADHD type. Runs about or climbs too much when remaining seated is expected. Again, that's another thing. No, I don't do that. Always been good in school, and that's why I wasn't picked up as being ADHD. Okay, so has difficulty playing or being quiet? No, I don't. Sorry, I do. Oh, sorry. Yeah, has difficulty? No, I don't have any difficulty with that stuff. I'm a very quiet person. Is on the go or often acts as driven, but nope, not at all. Not never. Sometimes when I get anxious, I appear to do this, and yeah, and when I haven't had any sleep, yeah. So this is a weird thing. So I can go almost a day without sleep and think that I'm normal, and probably aren't normal. If I've had to do an all-nighter, there is something to do with ADHD completion that gives you a buzz. So you get a buzz from if you delay the task and you need to do something, you need to complete this, and then you get a double buzz when the task is completed. So you almost get like a dual high, a dual dopamine high, which ADHD brains love. And if you think you're not addicted to dopamine, you can think again. So let me explain about dopamine. So ADHDers, they have difficulty with dopamine in a sense that they need a lot of it to feel motivated to do anything, really. That's why we delay tasks sometimes, because we need that extra dopamine, that we're almost critically going to fail something. We need that hit. But we can get that hit similarly from sugar, nicotine, anything ending with "ine", if you get what I mean, any sort of cocoa-based products as well, chocolate. So nicotine, caffeine, all of those sort of things we are addicted to. You know, if somebody is actually drinking coffee like it's water, oh well, some people don't drink water at all, but you know what I'm saying, they don't really, how do you say, you know, it's not, yeah, they can be often dependent, yeah, caffeine dependent, so they can't start their day, can't end their day, they can't do the middle of their day without caffeine, and that impacts on other stuff. Talks too much, yes. So if you imagine ADHD like a motor inside you, and the motor can act on various parts of your physicality and your mental activity. So your mind might be also on the go. So this is why ADHD is kind of like their mouth, it moves faster than their brain, if you see what I mean. And they kind of don't have that inhibited no, actually it's wrong, I beg your pardon. So the point I'm trying to make is, before I went off track, which is another ADHD thing, is that I talk too much because my brain is going fast. So I have a lot of ideas, and this is why ADHDs are usually good at idea or brainstorming. You will get a lot back. So during my ADHD test, the guy was surprised that I was quite sedentary, and my partner was sitting next to me and she was moving a lot. But as soon as he started to engage with me, he could see that I was talking fast, answering fast, coming up with questions very fast. I was very sort of on the ball. And you might see show hosts displaying this. You might see people who are comedians or, you know, interviewers. They are very quick-witted. You know, someone who's very quick-witted, you know, you might find a better fit in those sort of areas of employment, where your wit is required. Blurts out answers to questions, yes, I do. Has difficulty waiting his or her turn. This is all very much the same thing, really. And on the go. These are all to do with like impulse control. You know, you are actually not able to control or take turns or doing stuff like that. Yeah, I can physically control myself taking a turn, except sometimes when talking. Interrupts or intrudes, yes, I do often, and I think also that's closely related to autism as well, or autism spectrum disorder, where you don't seem to follow social prompts. So for example, I'm very hard at talking on the phone, I interrupt people a lot. Argues with adults. Okay, I can see that this is probably aimed at children, but I will do it anyway. Oh yeah, it does. For parents of children. Okay. Anyway, let's just continue anyway, because I've actually proved one of the things up here. Here we go. Does not follow through when given directions, or fails, or doesn't. You see, look. I've literally failed here. But anyway, this is virtually the same one for adults, so don't worry about my eagerness to complete this task and failing at the same time. Argues with adults. Yeah. Sure. Occasionally. Loses temper. Occasionally. Actively defies or refuses to go along with adults' requests or rules. Yeah, I do. When I see people being bullies because they're just in in seniority, and this also comes back to Asperger's, autism, autism spectrum disorder. I know people don't like using Asperger's, but I think you should be able to label yourself as you wish. You might have seen my Twitter replies recently. Actively defies or refuses go along. Yeah, I do. So I'm just coming back to this. I detest hypocrites. I also detest blanket policies. And usually if you explain to someone why the rules don't apply to you, I'm not a sociopath, and no diagnosis there yet, but usually if you explain to someone why the rules don't apply to you and why they should bend it, and you're not saying, hey, because I'm big boss, or my name is Bojo, or something like that. You're literally saying, hey, The rules that you have formulated, for example, like an IDVA, which happened to me recently. Applying for an IDVA, you need to have a referral. But if you fit the criteria, but you can't get a referral, or they're ignoring the referral, and you make the referral yourself, and then someone says, hey, our rules are X, Y, and Z, but you don't qualify for X, Y, and if you don't qualify for X, which is a referral by another organisation, but you do fit the criteria, then they should take on board your referral. Otherwise, that's called applying blanket rules, not especially with, but specifically for public authorities. Then they are allowed to bend the rules. It's actually a legal requirement for people in there to bend the rules in your favour. If you're disabled, if you're having difficulty getting along with stuff, then that is when they should bend the rules, and you should say to them, I think you're applying a blanket policy, and I fit the rules and criteria, except for this part, which you could say, if I have a stutter, it's hard to make a phone call, for example, and they only accept phone calls, or it's hard to get a referral, so for example, or it's hard for you to talk to people, so the only way you can get a referral is by talking to someone. You can say you've got a stutter, or X, Y, and Z. Any way that you can explain that the rules do apply to you, but they exclude you unfairly, then that's when you should actually say that and make a complaint if necessary. Anyway, deliberately annoys people occasionally, generally because I don't follow the rules. If I don't think they apply, or I think they're unfair, I do annoy people. And I will finish that sentence. And I don't care. I annoyed a lot of people when I was homeless, and now I'm not homeless. So please take things with a pinch of salt. And this, I don't deliberately ignore people, but sometimes I ignore people in the pursuit of something that is good. Blames others for their mistakes or behaviours. No, I don't do that. That's not me. If that is me, please pick up on my behaviour and let me know. Is touchy or easy annoyed by others? Sometimes, but I'm also very tolerant of other people. Touchy or easy annoyed? Then no. Okay, let's just stick to what it's saying, not what I think. Is angry or resentful? No. Is spiteful and wants to get even? No. Bullies, threatens or intimidates others? No. I can be intimidating, but it's not that kind of stuff. Usually when I'm sticking up for myself and someone thinks that they know the law, and I actually just send it back to them and what they're saying and say, look, you obviously don't know the law, that can be intimidating, especially if they're in a local authority situation. Starts physical fights? No. I was beaten up with my friend in a bar once. We had to be carried out by staff. That wasn't what we started though. We didn't start that at all. We were just minding our own business, dancing, and then we were jumped by almost the whole club. By the way, anyway, I survived. Lies to get out of trouble and avoid. Nope, I don't lie. It's truant from school. Skips without permission. I have never ever been truant in my life. I have never ever been truant. So is physically cruel to people? No. Has stolen things that have value? Yes. When I was 5, I put some Lego in my push chair, and then when we got out of the shop, my mum showed me some Lego that she bought me, and then I showed her some Lego that I had. Deliberately destroys others' property? No, I don't. Has used a weapon that can cause serious harm? No, I have not. Is physically cruel to animals? No. Okay, so reason why they're asking these questions is because part of ADHD is a test for oppositional defiant disorder, and they lump this in with ADHD because I don't know. I don't know why they lump it in there, but some people with ADHD have conduct disorders simply because they cannot refrain from the self-control. Okay, so this is probably why it's linked, because they have poor self-control. So it appears that they're just trying to be obstructive. They're trying to be obstinate. They're trying to be oppositional. So you get that diagnosis of ODD. There is nothing wrong with it, because you can get help. I don't think they're gonna lock you up for this sort of stuff, but it should be, yeah, just mention it. I think if it's your psychologist, they're not going to lock you up. If you say that you're going to do something, usually they have to lock you up. And you see how all these are kind of framed in the past? Has, is physically cruel to animals. I'll leave that up to you. Has deliberately set fire to cause damage. No, I have not. Has broken into someone else's home. Oh, let's expand on this. So me and my mate watched a really good program called, not Knight Rider. What's the one with the bike? Not Evel Knievel. Knight Rider. Anyway, it's a 1980s series about a bike, and Street Hawk. There you go. And here's a guy who has this amazing bike. It can do anything. It can jump. It can go really fast, and he goes around the streets fighting crime. So me and my friend, we were maybe 10. We were on our bikes. I had my BMX. He had his BMX, and what we did was put fireworks on the front of our BMXs. And we went down to a alley, and we fired these fireworks down the alley. Some got stuck with the sellotape and some did not. But we thought it was really a lot of fun. No one was hurt. Someone could have been hurt. We could have been hurt because these were mini rockets, fireworks, obviously X, Y, and Z. What was else I going to say? Has deliberately set fires to cause damage. Yeah, has deliberately set fires. Tick that. Has broken into someone else's home. Oh yeah, that's what I was going to do. Fun fact. Yeah, so there's something about my ability to hear a 1980s TV program, the signature theme, and actually name it. And maybe I might show you what my one of my traits are. And that's basically I know nearly all of the 1980s TV shows themes, and I can actually name the show from that. Has broken into someone else's home, business, or car. Nope. Has stayed out at night without permission. Nope. Has run away from home overnight. Nope. These are more conduct disorders. Has forced someone else into sexual activity. Nope. It's strange for a child. Well, 6 to 12. Yeah, I suppose so. Nowadays they're a bit forward. Is fearful, anxious, or worried? Yeah. Yeah. I can be anxious or worried. I'm not saying that I'm very anxious. It depends, to be honest. I think a lot of people are misdiagnosed because anxiety can be confused so in two ways they're misdiagnosed. So ADHD, undiagnosed ADHD, can cause a lot of anxiety and depression. So when it gets to a point, it almost seems that you have anxiety and depression and not anything else. So they don't really pick up on that you might have ADHD, and it happens a lot with people of colour and usually women, because they don't expect you to have ADHD. They think that if you do have a conduct disorder, then you need to be arrested. If you're a woman and you have a conduct disorder, then you're mentally unwell. So a lot of people have been diagnosed as anxiety and then have switched to ADHD medication after them being continuously prescribed anxiety medication, and it not seem to be working, kind of like it's still there. And that's because the not uncompletion of tasks is really, really tiresome. It makes you anxious. You think that there's something that you've forgotten in the pile of paperwork that you've got on your table or on another desk or something. You think you're missing something. You think that you're not going to pay your bill. You know this constant anxiety of things that are yet to be done, you know are coming, but you don't know where they are, and you don't know which one to tackle first. And try using one of my techniques, my paper techniques, to help overcome that, or just going to your doctor and filling out an ADHD this ADHD form and and taking it somewhere. Fear is fearful, anxious, or worried. Yes, I do have a lot of anxiety now. I'm unmedicated at the moment, but a lot of good things are going through well for me at the moment. But I still have a level of anxiety because I do have some paperwork on my desk that needs going through. Is afraid to do new things or fear making mistakes. Yeah. So, how do I say this? There's a lot of YouTubers out there. Not YouTubers. There are a lot of people, motivational speakers. Yeah, this is one of my pet peeves. It's a lot of motivational speak directly to the problems that ADHD has. For example, lack of motivation, when you know it isn't motivation, because when you got the motivation, you still are not completing tasks, or you fear making mistakes, and it's they say, oh, you've got to fear, you've got to overcome your fear, and it's a kind of toxic thing, because they're trying to fight something that needs to be medicated, but they're trying to fight it with them, if you see what I mean. So you may go from several stages, getting things done. David Allen, all of those top people, Tony Bryan, you may go through a wealth of motivational speakers. You may go through a wealth of GTD or to-do apps or to-do books, and you will never see them mention, hey, if this is the 5th book that you've bought, why don't you get an ADHD test? Because they don't want to recognize that you might have ADHD, and because they will be killing the goose that lays the golden egg. Some people don't want to know. I'm glad you're here to find out anyway. So I am definitely afraid of making mistakes. So I plan. Yeah, I plan and I try to do that, and that can actually stop me sometimes actually starting a task if I'm over planning and not making mistakes. And sometimes you just need to start. Yeah, do a first draft, do a 0 draft. How does what's his face take it? There's a guy called Tim Ferriss, and I think Tim Ferriss is probably the most genuine ADHD and non-ADHD person, if I can put it that way. And probably I'm not really saying anything bad about probably Tony Robbins is the worst. But on a sliding scale of usefulness, I think Tim Ferriss is probably the most useful. The other guy is telling you that you can do the amazing memory stuff. I wish that I could have a private word with him, just because of reasons. So he's afraid to do new things. So there's just ways that Tim Ferriss kind of describes things. He says, you're afraid to do new things, so break the task into manageable tasks. So if you're going to bake a cake, for example, get used to mixing. You are trying to be a chef, get used to just chopping stuff. You're not going to make the whole recipe. You just get to a task and you do that one thing, okay? The other technique that he has, and I'm sorry, he's very good. The other technique he has is about fear, is ask yourself the question is, what will happen if you make a mistake? Yeah, he actually says that. He's like, okay, you're afraid of making a mistake, what will happen? And then you might actually say, you know what, nothing. Then he says, if you do make a mistake, how quickly can you get back to the beginning? Is it like a critical mistake? Is it something that you're actually going to get in trouble for example? So let's give you an example, because I like to give you examples. So for example, tweeting. I don't know. Let's go to tweeting. If you want to do a tweet and you're like, oh, I think I will make a mistake. Then you say to yourself, okay, so what will happen if you make a mistake? Oh, someone will read the tweet, they'll laugh at you. Okay. So after they finish laughing at you, how easily are they going to forget that? Or how easy are you going to forget that and do another tweet? Put it in perspective. How easily can you get to being a person that maybe 3 or 4 tweets, maybe? Yeah. So you just do 3 or more tweets, check them, make sure they're okay. We all make mistakes, but not as many mistakes as the conservatives. Feels worthless or inferior. So yeah. Yeah, but I've got to be careful of straying here, because I feel worthless and inferior because I don't complete tasks. And so sometimes I have issues with these tests, and they are done by psychologists. And sometimes it feels like they don't know what it is like to be that person. Yeah, they don't understand what it's like to have ADHD. They understand what the diagnosis entails, but also on the other hand, these things here don't seem like they're anything to do with ADHD. They could be filters for stuff, for other stuff. Yeah. So if your psychologist looks at this, okay, maybe we should check for anxiety, because you can be comorbid, and all comorbid means is that you can have other things that are associated with your thing. So here we go. Feels lonely, unwanted, or unloved. Complains that no one loves him or her. No. Blames self for problems. Feels guilty. Yeah, I do. I do blame myself for stuff because it is me. Yeah, it is me. That's sometimes a sad thing, and that can cause depression. So this is where we're heading at the moment. This is comorbidities of depression, anxiety, and oppositional thing. But you know, what can you say if you're doing your tasks? So let's start again. ADHD is usually diagnosed in people who are having some life problems happening to them. So if you are an ADHDer, and you're Tony Robbins, for example, who probably has ADHD, you're failing a lot, and then suddenly you happen along something that is actually blooming amazing. You have grasped on your reason for being in the world, like Tony Robbins has, and you think, God, I'm just going to help people. That would be my reason for thing. And the problems associated with your life, lack of job, lack of friends, all those sort of things, those areas of your life that are impacted by ADHD, you no longer have an ADHD diagnosis because your life has not been impacted by any of these conditions. Conditions? Is that the right word? Symptoms. Because a condition is ADHD, a symptom is being physically cruel to people. So, is sad, happy, or depressed? Sometimes I'm sad. Is self-conscious or easily embarrassed? I'm not really. I see my running stuff. So, overall school performance, somewhat of a problem. Reading, problematic. Writing, problematic. Mathematics, average. Relationship with parents, somewhat of a problem. Relationship with siblings, somewhat of a problem. Relationship with peers, problematic. No, actually, I had a good relationship with my peers. Actually, was my better relationship with my tutors, actually, rather than my peers. So, is there parents here? No, there isn't. Participant in organised activities. I'm a fail at that. I want to lead, and I often am a good leader, but I just don't have the social nonce to pull it off. For example, we had some kind of, and this is the last example before we go and check our scores. And by the way, you should print this out, yeah, just to make sure. So how you do a print is usually Control P or Apple and P. Okay, so that's how you do that. And if you, so here we are. You can print. Mine's Command and P on the Apple, and it's Control and P on the PC. So you can print this on the Mac. It's quite easy. You can open PDF, and that's what I'm going to do. Yeah. So now I have that. So what was I trying to say? I was giving a good example of leadership skills. people with autism and ADHD usually have very good leadership skills. They get people motivated. They have good ideas. Sometimes though it's the execution of those ideas, or the where the rubber meets the road, for example. And I'll give you an example now of what happened to me. So we were in a group. There was an amazing leader. He was telling everybody what to do, and in our little group, and we had to decide what we should do for the YMCA that we were in. And we came up with ideas, and I came up with ideas that we should have a ambassador program. So when people graduated from the YMCA, what they would be is you'd choose a select few of them to be ambassadors. So they could go out and actually, appear on TV, do etc., etc., etc. And this guy looked at me and said, "That's not a good idea. Let's think of something else." Oh, I know a good idea. I can't remember what he said. Anyway, fast forward 45 minutes, and we sat down, and everybody's in front of the whole audience of YMCA, and the leader of the YMCA, he singled somebody out, and he said, "I think this is an excellent idea, and I think it's so excellent that I'm just going to do it anyway, regardless of any votes for it. It's having an ambassador scheme." And basically he echoed exactly what I said, and I looked at the chap who told me to go do one, basically in front of everyone else, and then look back at the leader in front of them. But yeah, anyway, let's score my answers, see how we did. Oh, I've missed one. So do you often miss stuff organising task activities? Yeah, I do, often. Yeah. Okay, so let's score the answers. Maybe I don't have ADHD. Oh gosh. So this is pretty much the same as my score that I got from the NHS. So I am diagnosed inattentive, and I'm not any of the other types you get. So this is the two that you have. You can have mixed. So if you have these two at the same time, that's mixed. Hyperactive, you almost seem like you can't sit still and you're constantly moving. It can be both mental and physical. Here I have really the mental, so I'm kind of inattentive, and kind of lose stuff. I'm kind of slow. No, that's not a criticism. It's an actual. Yeah, I'm slow. I'm methodical. I like to plan. I'm deliberate in what I'm doing. I'm slow. And slow doesn't mean stupid. Sometimes some people think it means stupid, but it doesn't. It just means you're slow. Example. What's this guy's name that's in the wheelchair? Stephen Hawking. He's very slow because he needs to type with his nose or something. Anyway, conduct disorder not present. Those are all the things like cats and lighting fires and stuff like that. Anxiety or depression. So even though I was depressed, I thought that's not the issue. So there you go, guys. Hope that's been great. Please like and subscribe. Any questions down below, let me know. Let me know what score you got, how you feel about it, and what you'll do next. What you should do next is take that printout, if it's positive, to your GP and ask them for an ADHD test. If they tell you more than 6 months, say that you would like the right to choose, and I think you should go on to. Okay, so you should go on Psychiatry UK, not Psychology UK, and here they give you everything you need to do. I'll put the links down below, and here they'll just basically tell you everything. Yeah, can you self-refer? No, you've got to actually have a referral, so you can't just do it yourself. The referral must come from your DP, because there must be a doctor saying that he's referring you. And then after that, you can do whatever you like with that referral, because that's just the law. If someone says you need treatment for something and they're a qualified professional, that's all you need. That's your ticket. All right, thanks everyone. Hope you liked that, and take care.